Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And this morning, Verizon announces their second quarter earnings, and they had another big quarter. But there are a few things that I wanted to touch on that are making all of the carriers' quarters kind of lopsided, and that's disconnections. So Verizon had about 1.5 million people not pay their bill, which, of course, that's a huge loss of money for Verizon that they'll have to continue covering, and that'll potentially keep them from reporting positive gains on revenue and profits, etc. Now, here's the good thing. So on the total wireless side, they did add 352,000 postpaid net additions, including 173,000 phone net additions and 287,000 postpaid smartphone net additions. So that's good. Also, the churn is low, so that means people aren't leaving, but all carriers are reporting disconnects. So people aren't paying their bill, and a lot of people, it's not because they can't pay the bill, but a lot of them are reprioritizing because of the pandemic. So they're like, hey, we need to put this money here and not pay our phone bill. We need to pay our rent or bills, or that's how they're reprioritizing. And it's showing, and the carriers are feeling those effects. But I think, well, hopefully soon everything goes back to normal, and then we'll start seeing the normal quarters again. But for now, the quarters are going to be lopsided. So the numbers are showing Verizon gained a good amount of customers, but again, they had 1.5 million people not pay their bill. So that means there's that stream of revenue is not incoming. So that was the negative part about the quarter. Another thing that I wanted to point out, Verizon spent $9.8 billion in the first half of 2020. That's almost $10 billion spent in 6 months. So network investment, full steam ahead. Again, I've stated it in several of my older videos. It's going to be very hard for T-Mobile to compete against two wireless giants that are spending $10 billion in 6 months. I know I haven't done the video on AT&T yet, but AT&T spent $10.8 billion in the first 6 months of this year. So they're outspending Verizon by $1 billion. And I think I made that reference in one of the older videos that in order to beat the best, you got to outspend them. And for now, it looks like that's what AT&T is doing, but you can kind of contribute that to AT&T having to play catch up. AT&T is behind, so they're playing catch up, so they're spending more so they can catch up faster. And of course, FirstNet is playing a big role in that. T-Mobile spending that $13 billion for the whole year. I don't know if it's going to cut it, because these carriers are looking like they're on pace of outspending their initial guidance for the capital investment for the year 2020. So Verizon already stated that they're going to spend more. AT&T hasn't came out publicly yet and said that they would spend more, but they are both on pace of outspending, largely outspending their capital investment for this year. Will that happen? We don't know until, of course, the fourth quarter reports come out. But usually the guidance is based on the number that the carriers release. And then the carriers usually, on the final one, usually base it off of how much work can actually be accomplished. So how many permits actually got approved within this year that they can actually roll out the cell sites, the small cells. And the more permits they can get approved, the more money they're going to spend to roll it out. And that's sometimes what leaves the carriers short of the guidance, or spending more than the guidance. And I think now with this pandemic and the wireless services being essential, it could have potentially been that a lot of the local governments just went ahead and got a lot of the approvals pushed so they can start working on cell sites, repairing them, upgrading them, whatever the case may be. And I think that's what may have happened, that the carriers now have spent so aggressively in the first 6 months. For comparison, the same time frame last year, Verizon only spent 7.6 billion. So they are up on spending on the wireless network and its investment. They did say they would spend more. Small cells were going to be increased by 5 times. So just keep that in mind. Again, I will make an AT&T video later today kind of discussing their quarterly earnings. Again, we've discussed it in the past quarters. Very negative for them. Again, on the TV side, lots of losses there. Wireless kind of so-so. But again, all carriers are dealing with the disconnects and people not paying their bill on a monthly basis anymore during this pandemic. So let me know what you think about this in the comment section down below. Did you think that Verizon was even going to do the numbers that they're doing? Like I said, both carriers are posting low churn. AT&T's is low, Verizon's is low. So people aren't leaving them necessarily, but they're not paying their bill either. So it's kind of a catch-22. Now, another thing that I do want to point out before I end this video, and I want to hear from you guys in the comment section. Now, the customers that haven't paid their bill, that adds up. So let's say your bill is $300 a month. Now it's $600, now it's $900, and so on and so on. Once the pandemic's over and people are, comfortable again spending a monthly wireless bill, are they going to have all of that due up front? Are the carriers going to hold them to it? If they do hold them to it, are they likely to leave? Are carriers' churn going to spike because now they're going to just switch to another carrier so they can start fresh? Or are the carriers just going to wipe, kind of like a clean slate and say, hey, look, start at 0 and pay your monthly bill going forward? Because either way, it's going to be a loss for the carriers. If they tell them it's a clean slate, or if they just let them leave and then, it'll go delinquent and hit their credit. But, that's not a big deal. It's a pandemic after all. So let me know what you think about that. Do you think that's a possibility, or do you think the carriers are just going to clean the slate for the customer and just tell them, hey, just start paying your bill now for this month, your regular bill, and we'll wipe out the remaining balance. Again, if you have been on the channel, you can go ahead and end the video now. If you are new, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when I upload the content. Make sure in the YouTube app you enable push notifications so it does push the notifications to you. Also follow the Twitter. I do post the videos on there as well, so you could push the notifications there as well. So you have 2 options on when the uploads go live. I'm still getting emails, people telling me that YouTube notifies them late, so I'd rather have you guys do both options so you are notified when the videos go up. And this is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.